Creepypasta spawned from the 4chan message board, where people would post urban legends and memes and also first-hand accounts of strange, unexplainable things. The internet is a freaky place, and people could post whatever they wanted on 4chan. There's something about using your imagination that's much scarier rather than seeing every scary moment on a screen. Sure, creepy, suspenseful music makes your gut do flips, but a good scary story will give you nightmares for years, or maybe even make you go insane. For this IO Top 10, we've compiled a list of the top 10 scariest creepypastas. If you don't like spoilers, stop watching now, but you've probably heard of all of these before. Be sure to tell me which one was your favorite in the comments down below. Let's get into it. The first creepypasta on our list at number 10 goes by the name Ben Drowned, and it's actually inspired its own game. It tells the tale of a college student that bought a hacked version of The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. When he put the game in his Nintendo 64, there was a saved file on it from the previous owner under the name Ben. The gamer erased it and opened a new one named Link, like the main character in Zelda. The game then began to glitch out and everything was warped and like demented. And then the game began to threaten the player by saying, "You shouldn't have done that." This story gives new meaning to the traditional idea of a virus. What if a virus could actually hurt you? Moving along now, it is time for number 9, The Expressionless. It's about an anonymous patient who couldn't speak that had a very scary mannequin-like face. She was admitted to the Cedars-Sinai Hospital in June 1972, and staff were afraid to tend to her. They sedated her, and when a doctor went to approach her, she smiled at him to reveal huge, razor-sharp pointed teeth. You can guess what happened after that. Many believe this story was inspired by a photo called Student Nurses with Waxwork Patient. Next on our list at number 8, we've got Abandoned by Disney. This creepypasta tells the tale of an abandoned Disney theme park based on the Jungle Book that was called Mowgli's Palace. It surfaced as a detailed first-hand account of Christopher Howard Wolf, who's known on Reddit as Slime Beast. Here's how it goes. A writer went to the theme park after hearing a creepy story about another abandoned park. Once he was there, he saw Abandoned by Disney painted on the walls, on the gates, all over the park. He got to the mascot dressing room and came across what at first looked like a Mickey Mouse costume. It was not Mickey, but a weird backwards Mickey that looked like a negative. Mickey then got up and then asked the blogger if he wanted to see his head come off. The writer ran for his life and never returned. He never released the pictures or blogged about the incident again. His story has been dismissed as a hoax, but conspiracy theorists say that you can actually see a Mowgli's Palace on Google Maps. Next on our list at number 7, we've got Candle Cove. The urban legend allegedly started as a story about a forum that asked if people had ever heard of a children's TV show called Candle Cove from the 70s. It appeared from many of their responses that people remembered it. Many engaged in the discussion as if they all remembered the same show and all the characters, and it was a source of their nightmares. When it was actually found out that the show Candle Cove never actually existed. The believability of this story is what made it resonate with people the most, and it's one of the most well-known creepypastas. It's time for number 6, The Grifter. It goes along with this freaky looking image of a baby. The Grifter originates from the idea of a forbidden video, a creepy compilation of homemade footage, kinda like the movie The Ring. The idea is if you watch it, you'll either go insane or die. No footage of the Grifter has ever popped up, only supposed screenshots and snippets, but the legend says that the video allegedly contains the footage of dead or dying babies. Coming in at number 5, we've got Robert the Doll, and this doll actually exists. I don't know what it is about dolls, but they are so creepy. They just kind of sit there like staring at you. What's creepier than that? Robert the Doll is the story of a doll that was given to an artist named Robert Eugene Otto in the late 1800s by one of his servants. Robert named the doll after himself, and it began to terrorize his family, and it pushed his wife into insanity. The doll was found by another family and was given to the daughter, who was so scared of it she didn't want it in her room. Robert the Doll is still on display at the Fort East Martello Museum, and anyone who takes his photo has to ask politely first, or he will lay a curse on you. Coming in at number 4, we've got Smile Dog. You may have seen this photo around the internet. The story behind it is, to say the least, pretty scary. An amateur writer met up with a woman. She worked at a bulletin board system in the early 90s. While working there, she and 400 other employees saw this scary picture of a husky with human-like teeth. When she met with the writer, the woman flipped out, locked herself in the washroom, and started having a mental breakdown. Smile Dog successfully haunted these 400 employees in their nightmares and made some of them go insane. The woman who locked herself in the bathroom ended up taking her own life. Next at number 3, it's the Russian sleep experiment. World War II was a horror story story in itself, and it's naturally the inspiration for many horror stories, this one included. The Russian sleep experiment tells the story of Soviet researchers who, at the end of World War II, put 5 prisoners into an airtight chamber and dosed them with gas to test the effects of sleep deprivation. They were promised their freedom if they could go without sleep for 30 days. By the 5th day, the subjects began to go insane. When the scientists decided to end the experiment early, they turned off the gas in preparation for the release. The subjects didn't want to leave. They begged to have the gas turned back on. Armed guards went in the chamber to retrieve them, but what they found was terrifying. One subject was dead in a pool of blood with chunks of flesh ripped from him, and every other subject had resorted to cannibalism, even though they had food. They had mutilated each other and themselves. I won't spoil the ending for you, but you should definitely read it if you're in the mood for a good scare. The Russian sleep experiment never happened, but it's still one of the scariest creepypastas ever. Getting close now, at number 2, it's Jeff the Killer. The photo that goes along with the story shows a washed out, overexposed face with a crazy crooked smile. Since its emergence in October 2008, it pretty much became the creepypasta mascot. Its origin is not completely known. Some believe it's based on a fictional story about a guy named Jeff who accidentally spilled a bucket of acid on his face while trying to clean his bathtub. Another story is about a bullied boy who mutilated his own face before going on a killing spree. But perhaps the scariest and most heartbreaking origin is that this photo actually is a Photoshop photo that allegedly comes from a girl named Katie Robinson, who was bullied about her weight. The photo of her was photoshopped into what's known as the original Jeff the Killer photo. Katie allegedly committed suicide when the photo of her as Jeff the Killer went viral, and she couldn't take the bullying any longer. Alright, lastly at number 1, it's no surprise, we've got Slenderman. Slenderman is a story by Eric Knudsen about a faceless, tall man in a black suit. He's kinda like the modern day boogeyman. He shows up in photographs, and legend has it he preys on children who search for him and torments them by revealing himself and then running away. It's not the story itself that's scary in my opinion, it's the story that followed. Slenderman actually inspired 2 girls to attempt to commit murder. The incident is known as the Slenderman stabbing, and it occurred in Waukesha, Wisconsin. 2 12-year-old girls stabbed one of their friends in the woods and left her there to die. The girl, barely clinging to life, crawled out of the woods and was found by a cyclist. The 2 girls have been charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and they have been tried as adults. When being interrogated, one of the girls said she believed Slenderman would harm her and her family if they did not carry out the attack. Both girls pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease. Anyways guys, those were the top 10 scariest creepypastas. Which one did you like the most? Let me know in those comments down below, and I'll see you guys in another video.